Very happy to have you
Hello, everybody.
with your Knights of the Holy Rose Sanctum. Very happy to see that you are doing what you can to connect this country again.
Oh yeah, we're gonna try to get. We're trying to help you out as best we can over here. I'm trying to get people to find the channel. The problem is, man, you're a little hard to find. But they're trying to find your channel so that they can go on ahead and sign the petition and everything for you.
The title of this particular podcast that I'm doing is America Owes More Than $72 billion to be distributed among its estimated 18 million veterans for injuries and hardships incurred because of military service. Now,
Oh
I
yeah.
live in America, you live in America. I don't care what's going on in this country. I don't care if there's an economic downturn. You pay what you owe. And America owes veterans. Settle your books, but you pay veterans first. I'm sick and tired of the Department of Veteran Affairs playing with veterans and torturing them like me. When all they have to do is a simple 1% excise tax. The excise tax is 1% on commerce and transportation. So maybe it costs you $2 to go over a road. What if it costs you $2.02? You take 2 pennies, throw it in to the toll booth, and guess what? That pays for a veteran to live in a house. That pays for a veteran to get groceries. That pays for a veteran to have a medical team that is devoted to making sure that they receive expert level care. 2 cents. Now, if you have $1,000 that you're going to spend on two PlayStation 5, great, good for you. Can you maybe spend $10 to help a handicapped veteran get some groceries? We live in such
Oh,
a selfish country, and we talk about taxes. We talk about how, nobody wants to pay extra taxes, but no one really complains when they put tax on everything else that the state wants to do. And the state doesn't want to take care of veterans. So we are asking, as veterans, to just give the bare minimum. I know it's really bad to consider 2 pennies out of your dollar to be something that you would give to a veteran, but think of the the gains you get from that. You get to have people see themselves as human beings once again, instead of just broken, discarded war toys.
yeah. And you see, I might not be a full-fledged veteran. I might not have been a veteran of foreign wars. I only went to basic training and I got injured with a grenade. But I still kind of get an understanding because that was terrifying. So I still can't hear out of this ear. So I do understand about wanting to be able to get some kind of disability benefit from any kind of service. Not just veterans of foreign wars, but I can see, you know, police officers in like seriously hard areas. You know, looks like we got some trolls, but that's kind of expected.
This is what happens when you
Y'all better
start speaking
behave.
the truth.
I'll whip
People
out
looking
troll
at you
bait.
strong. I'll try and take care of it, so you just focus on what you're saying.
I got you. But anyway, so yeah, I could see police officers that are like, homicide detectives, or even, child psychiatrists that deal with kids that like murder their families and stuff like that. People who deal with horrible, horrible jobs where they have PTSD from it. I think that they should get the care they deserve no matter what, because I've seen some of these people totally have to go into counseling all over them, all by themselves, and totally have to deal with these things and still do their job at the same go. And then they end up becoming alcoholics, becoming drug addicts, all kinds of stuff. There's just a horrible, horrible cycle going on where we do not recognize the trauma that some of these men and women that serve our country in the armed forces have to deal with all the time. Our first responders, they got to deal with trauma all the time. Our police officers, they deal with trauma all the time. And we don't think about that. We don't take that into consideration at all. We're just like, oh, well, they're a hero. Guys, heroes fight their own battles. They struggle definitively every day with demons of their own, from stuff that they've had to put up with and see and deal with, or in some cases, attacks like my dear friend Ian here. I couldn't say it for a second.
It's a hard
But
name. People have struggled with
no,
the 3 letters, but it's the hardest 3 letters in the entire English alphabet.
well, my problem is I have a stutter.
You're doing great. I'm glad that you brought up the whole first responders thing, because I want to start talking about veterans first, because veterans, they should have
Suffer.
had their benefits from day one. If you exit the military, you should be exiting better than you left. I don't care if you had limbs blown off or you have terrible PTSD. You should be leaving better than you went in. You should be leaving with the knowledge that your country will always support you and guide you to where you need to be. I'm supposed to be a medical doctor. I was supposed to be in medical school, but the VA wouldn't give me the disability rating and wouldn't pay for my education. So instead of being a doctor right now with a full attending profession, because that's how long it's been 7 years for me at this point. 7 years of going back and forth with the VA that I could have spent in medical school. I could have spent getting an education, and that's the reason why I joined the military. But I'm not dismissing the sacrifice of first responders. I'm saying, you know what? We need to have a 1% excess tax for veterans, but we also need to have a 5 or 10% excise tax for first responders, because they're the ones who run toward the danger.
Yeah.
Veterans are the ones who came out of danger. But the first responders, they run into it and they keep running into it every single day. And that takes a huge toll on them physically, mentally, their family bonds, the stress it has to be for their family to know, oh, my daddy's a hero or my mom is a police officer, but I don't know if they're coming home. And every day I have to sit and I get down on my knees and I pray that they return back to me. The stress of those families. We need money to cover that entire family. And we can't keep ignoring this, because I don't want a police officer to say, I can't afford groceries today. Maybe I'll take a shortcut. I don't want my police to ever have to say that. I want my police to say, I'll spend my time at the gym. I will work out. I will de stress. I will provide a nice steak dinner for my kids. And I'm going to enjoy a nice holiday in a good area and just let the stress go and then come back to work well rested. It's just like, let's give them what they're worth. These people are heroes. Give them what they're worth. And for veterans have always been heroes. I came out of the military a broken person, but I never stopped fighting for America. And this conversation that I'm having with you is because I said it is time to found new city, new town, and get people outside of this system that is just hurting us. So I want to form my own town. I know, Clint, you want to form an underground city of your own, and I want to go on record and say I want to start a trade agreement with you and your town. I know that your town is most likely going to be a bunch of hunters, a bunch of forward-thinking people. I want some venison meat, and for that venison meat, I'd like to trade you some crops. I'd like to trade you some soap. I'd like to trade you some health and beauty products, because that's what my town is going to be. I want bakers. I want chefs. I want holistic gay-owned businesses, because yes, I want to be the mayor of Gaytown. I know that I have PTSD from military sexual trauma. I want to have a space for people like me to grow and thrive. I want people like me either be restaurant owners, spa owners, and say the operating costs are zero because free electricity, free food, free water, free internet. I'm reducing costs and I'm giving you guaranteed customers. And I
Yes.
want easy trade agreements. So if you wanted to come to my side of the town and do business with us or enjoy one of our luxury amenities,
Hell, we'll put
that
an
would be
elevator.
available for you.
We'll put an elevator.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because that's one of the other reasons that I want to start building cities because we need to start talking about security in America. Border security isn't just what's going on outside of the country coming back in. It's there's a zombie horde outside our doors every single day. We move to cities because we say, oh, we're going to be hanging out with all the good people. All the good people live in the city. It's like, nah, you got crackheads, you got meth addicts. And guess what? They want your money. They want your money badly. And why should I, as a veteran, have to deal with any of that when I could just say, you're a good veteran, come be my neighbor. And guess what? There's no drugs and disease in my neighborhood. I kick those people out. I don't let them in because it's a privately owned business that incorporates into a city, just like Apple. See, I learned from them. If they can
Yep.
do it, I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And you can have a town based on whatever you feel like. You want to have a town filled with hunters, gatherers, people who live off the land and
Paleolithic
give back to
community.
it. Great. I have a town filled with a bunch of gay operated businesses. We've got discotheques, we've got clubs, we've got gyms, we got spas, we got cake delivery services. You know, if you have a birthday, we will get that for you. You know,
You
because
tired of feeling like a caveman? Go up the elevator and go have some fun at the club. See you at the
exactly.
Coco Bongo. You know.
You know, I want that kind of freedom and also
Mhm.
just give you more value for your money because I say in my Reddit group, your money is your money and your money is no good here because whatever money you have, you spend on yourself. But anything else
Yeah.
you need, food, water, electricity, internet, that is provided for you in my private club, which incorporates into a town. How would you feel about that for
I
yourself
wouldn't have a
and
problem.
your holy order?
I wouldn't have a problem with it because the community that I'm wanting to set up, that whole underground idea that I had, yeah, it would be a 5 mile stretch. You know, 5 miles wide by 5 miles wide by probably about 400 feet high, and that way you could grow trees. You could have the solar panels up top. You just need to power them long enough to charge, or the solar lights up top. You just have to power them up long enough to charge the solar panels down below, and then it'll be a continual circulation of energy. All you got to do is repair the solar panels or repair the solar lamps. You got to throw in a little bit of irrigation system up top to act like natural rain or mist, and you put the UV lights on a day-night cycle where you're still in a 24-hour day, 24-hour night. And then I would like to create a Paleolithic community where people could live tribally, where you don't have to have law, you don't have to have money. Barter is better, in my opinion, because money has caused people to lose their minds. Whereas bartering back in the day, you had to have a sharp wit, you had to have a sharp tongue, you had to be able to know how to negotiate, you had to know what you had, what you were worth, and we have lost that as a civilization because instead of focusing on what I can do, what I can provide, what I know, you're focusing on how much of this you got. Guys, there ain't many of us that got a lot of that. There ain't many of us got a lot of that at all. And I'm one of them. I live off of $374 a month. That's what I get. And now I'm going to be getting food stamps. Thank God. But took forever. Thank you, Odin. But like you, I fought for a year to get that. Just to get food stamps.
I'm
And they
mentioned
kept trying to say I made too much.
I'm glad you mentioned food stamps because I have been forced because of my PTSD to not be able to go shopping in the public. So I have to order things from places like Amazon, get my food delivered. But when I
Yeah.
go to the cart, it has this little thing that shows up under my groceries. I buy lots of vegetables because I like to eat healthy, but it says Proposition 65. Now, Proposition 65 in California is a law that they passed that if there is something wrong with the food that they're going to sell to you, they have to let you know. So when I buy onions, garlic, whatever, they have to inform me, oh yeah, we grew this in soil that was covered in cadmium, which by
Contaminated
the way
20 years
poisons
ago.
too. Or the garlic that you import from China, yeah, they put arsenic in it. Just so you know. I mean, you're still gonna buy it, right? And they,
Yeah.
they have this attitude of, well, I mean, we let you know, not it has our name on it. We should guarantee that it doesn't have harmful chemicals. And this is why I like Amazon. I really do. Thank you so much for providing my stuff. But if you are selling me poisoned food, I have to say as a consumer, yeah, I value my health. I value the health of my community. I want a community that says, okay, well, if you're going to sell me bad stuff, then I have to grow good stuff. So I want to grow stuff locally, hydroponically. I'm going to import soil. I'm going to create compost heaps. And I'm just going to have like a recycled philosophy of everything that you use is recycled. Yesterday's glass bottle is tomorrow's fiberglass chair.
There you go. And you see, the civilization that I want to set up, they're custodians of the land. You take care of nature because nature provides you with everything. And I had my first actual dream about it last night, and it was extremely vivid. And there were sections for everything but an Arctic and a tundra climate. And each section was a 5 mile by 5 mile section. You had jungle, you had forest, you had desert, you had everything you needed. And in each one of them was its own biome. It had just the right amount of stuff to keep it alive. And there was a small colony in each little 5 mile area that maintained and kept those lands. And man, if I could make it happen in real life, it'd be beautiful. It'd be a real absolute paradise just underground. I'm not an engineer like you, so I can't really figure that out. I'm an old school blacksmith. You know, you want me to build you a
It still
survival
it still
shelter?
has values. I need doors, I need walls built. I put this as a challenge to you because I know that you're of the same mindset. At
Yeah,
the end of this month, I have the biggest decision of my life. Either the VA is going to give me my full disability benefits by some miracle by the end of the month, or I'm going to have to start my own city and get the value to make up for the money that I've been missing. Or I'm just going to
yeah,
have to leave America altogether and just say, you know what, America has disrespected me for the last month because I am not the only veteran who is suffering here. When I talk about solar power, I'm not just talking about, oh, well, you get enough to run a cell phone. It's there's enough energy to run cities, multiple cities, and to
that
never
was
pay a bill again. And every
yeah,
American has been robbed every single day. There are restaurants who are going under because they didn't pay their electric bill. And guess what? Without electricity, you got to take a day off, and a day off without electricity in a restaurant means you are out of business. But why
there
should you
goes your
put up with
pops.
it? If you move to a city that said, we'll give you the electricity. Oh, you need flour? Here's some flour. Whatever you do with it, that's your profit. Because I want to live in a town that says, I want to pay you to live there.
Yeah,
I want to pay you dividends of all the products that we have. Like I live in LA. and LA makes movies. I don't get a cut of that. I don't get a taste of any of that. Any of that. These actors, these directors, these giant film companies who sell merchandise, they get a lot of money to use the entire city as a backdrop. And if you were in any of those, you know, filming areas, guess what? They used your likeness, but they didn't pay you for it. Where's that money? There's no money in that. I want to live in a
I
city
know.
that says if you live here and operate in any sort of way, you know turn on the sprinkler for the crops. Guess what? I'll pay you for that. I'll pay you,
Yep.
and you didn't pay to live here. So you enjoyed everything. You went to the gym, you went to the club, you went to a restaurant. You didn't pay for a single thing, but I pay you to live there because there are profits to be had when you eliminate operating costs and share them.
Yes, there is absolutely profit to be made um, for the people, for everyone involved. All you got to do is just, if you need the supplies to repair, or if you need the supplies to build, or if you need the supplies to manufacture, anyway, get them. If that's all you needed, then you know what? Everybody would have a job. Everybody would have a business.
Hmm.
Everybody would have what they needed. And yeah, there's a lot of countries where, you pay a buttload of taxes. I'm Swedish by descent. I have Swedish. They pay 80% in taxes, but they get free health care, free mental care. They get free dental. They get free optical. They get free housing. They get food allowance. They get all these things provided. They even get a list of jobs after taking a test that tells them what they're qualified for. And there you go. You don't even have to keep that job. You could go down that list, you know, and find the right one for you. And these are things that Americans could learn from. You know, so what if we pay more in taxes? If we got all the food we need on our table, our kids are taken care of, our grandparents are taken care of, our fathers, our mothers, our brothers, our sisters, everybody gets what they need, then it doesn't matter how much you pay in taxes. It doesn't matter how much money is going out, as long as the supplies are coming in, as long as you have what you need to survive. And you see, I'm not talking about bare minimum, guys. I'm talking about a good home. I'm talking about a good meal. Like he said, a steak dinner on your table, you know. Um, but guys, we outsource too much. We import too much. We do this too much. The economy, it is economics, blah, blah, blah. Guys, these are systems that can easily be outdated. We just don't have anybody that wants to be smart enough to do it. And we don't have anybody willing to fight the fight to do it, because so many people are like, oh well, look what happened to Galileo. Yeah, he got thrown in prison for saying the earth was round, but the dude was right. you know he was absolutely right. He was like, you guys are a bunch of dinosaurs, get your head out your butt and do it. you know but we won't do that, because we're so stuck in this cycle of capitalism, this cycle of money, money and war, money and war, money and war. That's all we're doing. And it's time to make a change. It's time, as the human race, humanity, where unity is built into the word, to unify, to stand up as one people, not just as Americans, not just as Arabic, Egyptian, uh, Russian, not just as a single nation people. We need to rise up as a people of earth. And we need to realize that we have the ability to take care of everybody on this planet if it wasn't for a greedy few, you know. And that's the problem. It's not everybody. It's a large, greedy few who have made it to where everybody else is now stuck in this cycle of, I have to have cash. You know,
Cash can only get you so
so
much,
far.
and it can get you so far. I mean, I've been fighting for this disability benefits so I could live a more peaceful life without my PTSD constantly be triggered. I talk about, how much I struggle with just going outside. Going outside is so traumatic. I end up coming back here and harming myself. I start hitting my head. I start, just
Freaking out.
freaking out. And the VA does not care. It does not care. And I've said for the longest time, either you give me my money or you give me the value of my country. And the value of my country should be the peace and security of living in a town where I can trust my neighbors. And I kind of like my neighbors.
Yeah.
I know my neighbors because right now I'm living in an apartment building, and it could not be worse. And that's time. Time is a value. Money can't buy you time.
You
But
see, I'm back at my dad's.
yeah, you need to be able to get value for your time. How many of us are losing hours of our day stuck in jobs that do not pay enough to even give you the food, do not pay enough to give you the housing, and do not pay you enough
Tell
to
you
stock
what,
up your family?
God, where it's a little bit warmer, it's kind of cold. My AC running.
Oh, you're living that fancy life then.
Well, I put I got a mobile AC donated to me by a fan whenever I have RV,
Aw.
and I put it in my bedroom.
Mhm.
All right, let's get to my table. By the way, this is where I live, bro.
That is nice. And you see how, you kind of let nature be nature.
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit.
Incorporating that back into your life, it's giving you health. I want that for all Americans. I want that for Americans that will move into this kind of town, because to see nature, to be part of it, to say I can walk outside if I want to, and I don't have to worry about being fired. I can enjoy a 2 hour lunch break because I've already got whatever I needed to do done. And maybe what I've needed to do didn't even take 2 hours.
Yeah, and you see, I get the chance that most people don't, which is to take the time and settle down and enjoy nature and still have that childlike wonder, of exploring the woods and exploring the swamps. It's just like right now, I got a little caterpillar sitting right here beside me. I wouldn't touch him. He's covered in poisonous thorns, but he's definitely a cool looking little guy.
Oh wow! How in the world did you? That is the cool thing about being outside in nature. Like even nature just wants to be a part of you, and you are given this great opportunity to enjoy that. I think this is what is missing. It's more than what money can buy. When you have that restored into you, it's like restoring a piece of your soul.
And you see,
Oh, this is
money
Nick
can
Cage
buy
over here.
money
Peace of
can
mind.
buy many things, but it cannot buy peace of mind.
Hmm.
And peace of mind is what a lot of you veterans are looking for. You just want to be at peace.
Hmm.
And I support that. One of my chapters, the Pale chapter in the Knights of the Holy Rose Sanctum, they're all about veterans. In fact, I was trying to find somebody to run that chapter, you know, because we don't have anybody running any chapters but me and my girlfriend right now. So we only have the silver chapter, which is my chapter, which I take care of abuse victims and human trafficking victims. Um, my girlfriend takes care of cancer research, and she's the turquoise chapter, but we're still looking for members for the others. There's 12 chapters altogether, and
we're trying to find a way to help as many people as we can. That's what the Knights are all about. The Knights of the Holy Rose Sanctum was literally established to where it doesn't matter what country you're in. It's not a national organization. It's a world organization. I want chapters all over. I want people all over the world. And since we already have chapters, I was going to call them pages. I'm even thinking about for younger viewers, people who are in high school who want to donate to charities and stuff like that, creating something called the Squires, which was where they could come in and still be able to donate and be part of one of the chapters, but be like a junior member.
And maybe take an
So,
online tutorial class. I mean, you might be able to teach them a skill and they can learn it remotely wherever they are and then help out the community. I mean, this idea that I have of founding a city doesn't mean that I give up on all the other American cities. It actually means the opposite. By saving money, by increasing profits for my fellow Americans in their respective businesses, I create a new working class that can do more with their money. And maybe what they do is they invest in other businesses back in other cities. Maybe they invest in new storefronts and expand their business to new franchises, or maybe they just spend their money on charity to go clean up these cities and take these cities back. But you can do that when you saved up a lot of money. And right
yeah,
now, moving to a city is just hooking yourself up to a vampire. It just
yeah,
drains the life out of you. It drains the money out of you. I had the incident where I was locked out of my apartment. Remember that?
yeah,
I went to go walk my dog without a shirt on. I come back and I'm locked outside my apartment. Because I was locked outside of my apartment, I had food right there on the stove. That food went moldy. I had to go out, I had to buy food, and the amount of money that I spent trying to feed myself and my animal while sleeping outdoors was
what's
like one hundred
ridiculous, I
fifty
bet.
dollars, like $200. And
Ridiculous.
that's for what, 3, 4 days? Because there was an extra day when my landlord came by and she tried to open up the door and it's like, nah, I can't do it. By the way, I can't help you. So wait till tomorrow. And I wasted that money that I could have had if I just had my own place.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. That's another better spot right up here under my favorite oak tree. My grandpa planted this tree.
See how nice and tall it is?
Hmm.
You know, I like
I
to
call it overreach,
people like that.
but sorry, I'm trying to get myself in a good mindset to think about this. Where I don't get upset and start cussing at America.
This is a safe space. You know, I want to do it. If you want to do it, go right ahead because you have the freedom of speech. And a lot of us have been intimidated out of speaking up, intimidated out of saying when something's wrong or saying no means no or I've just had enough. And
Yeah.
I have had enough about all veterans, not just myself, all veterans being abused by America and robbed by America.
Yes.
Those utility companies like Edison, they reach into your pocket and they steal money from veterans. They steal money from us for electricity that we could have generated to ourselves. And you know what? What I want to do is I just want to send veterans solar panels and batteries so that they can emancipate themselves from that vampire of Edison and all the companies like that who say, well, you know what, you want to charge your laptop, you want to charge your cell phone, oh, well, it's going to cost you about $100, your refrigerator. Ah, that's a really expensive item there. That appliance is going to be running 24/7. Guess what? It's going to run up your bill. Why are
Hmm.
veterans paying for that? Why? It is 2025. You're a smart person. I'm a smart person. I'm not
Why
paying
should
for that.
veterans? Why should veterans even pay taxes? Why should veterans even pay anything at all? They should have a card that just says, I served. And that should be all they need.
Thank you.
You know, they should just be able to show that military ID and walk out with whatever they want. And that is a firm belief of mine. I have had family in every single war this country has ever faced. Every single war. That's not a joke. You know, I had family in the American Revolution that came over on the Mayflower. You know, I have family that came over as Swiss trappers that were in the Pemmican Wars. I had family that was in the American Indian War. I had family that was in the Civil War. I got his sword sitting in there on my wall right now from the Civil War. You know, so veterans are a big deal to me and my family. You know, and so are police officers. I've got sheriffs in my family. You know, that's why I mentioned first responders and I mentioned police officers. I know what they go through because I have family members that go through all that. You know, guys, I'm the only one in my family who's messed up. I'm the only one who's really tore up and has to stay home. And it makes me feel terrible. That's why I'm trying to create the Knights of the Holy Rose Sanctum so that I can actually feel like I'm doing something like the rest of my family does. You know, guys, because we protect all of you. The Gages, the Nortons, the Whittleseys, the Rissingers, the Werners. We deliver your food. We protect you guys. We are America, you know, and that is what I want to show everybody else. Look into your ancestry, see what your people have done for this country, you know, and see what you can do. You can make a change. Guys, some of our ancestors changed an entire continent, drove off an entire empire with a bunch of farmers with muskets. So we can do better. We can do a lot better. Because what's going on right now is crazy. This hatred towards each other because, you know, in your case, Ian, you're gay. People are going to hate on you for that. It's ridiculous. Who cares? Really, who cares who you sleep with? It's not my problem. You know, long as you ain't hitting on me, I'm good because I don't swing that way.
You are a
I'll make
cast
jokes.
and you already have a partner. I know better than to compete with Jen for your affection. But I
I'm
will
just saying
say,
in general.
you are my neighbor. You can be my neighbor. We can share a good working relationship with each other where I say, you know what, you've got American civil liberties. I'll respect that. I have American civil liberties. You'll respect that.
There you go. That's all you need to do. You
That's
just
all we need to do. That's all we need to do in America. But with
common
these
sense
cities,
and
they
common
just divide
courtesy.
us. These cities
Common sense.
divide us. And I'm glad that you keep bringing up first responders. How many first responders want to go to ethnic neighborhoods where they know that they're hated, where they know that they're underappreciated, but they get the call from the people who live there, help me,
Hmm.
and they still go.
Oh yeah.
They have to deal with that 24/7 without either receiving help or receive that option of, you know what, all that love and respect you have for your community, why don't you take that and just give it to a better community? I'm
Yeah.
telling first responders, I'm trying to build that lovely gay veteran village of my own. But guess what? You have the option of saying, you know what, have a cop village and just say we are police officers that were, working in, South Central LA, but now we have our own spot. And guess what? We patrol our own spot because we
Yeah.
formed our own town. You always had that option as an American citizen, but for some reason we get seduced by these cities to think that's it, that's all you're worth. It's like, no, you're worth something, and now's the time to
Oh
prove
yeah. Oh yeah. It's always there's always time. You know, I mean, yeah, you can't get back time that's lost, but there's always time to fix a problem that you caused. There's not no time left until the time's up. And that time is only up when you die. You know, you can always fix a problem that you cause or create. Give me just a second, Ian. I'm afraid I have to use the restroom.
Take your time. I'll handle it from here. Hi, Leah. How are you? I am glad to be doing this conversation with Clint. He is such a level-headed person, someone who just truly understands the struggles of America are universal. It doesn't matter what color or religion you come from. Everybody wants to see food on the table and their kids go to bed and wake up and live in a world where they can thrive. They can grow into beautiful adults that find a place in this world. And right now, it's really, really hard to find a place for yourself. So we have to do more.
Ooh, that's why I got up walking around a minute ago. I couldn't stay sitting down because I had to pee.
Bodily function. And, I'm glad that you shared that rather publicly because you're talking about gay rights and, you're like, you're cool if you're gay or whatever. I'm saying transgender people are fighting in America to use the bathroom. If a transgender person wants to take a big smelly poo and dodge a stadium and has to deal with some asshole bothering them about using the right or appropriate restroom, then guess what? Don't go to Dodger Stadium. Don't support that team. Build your
Exactly.
own team. In a brand
Exactly.
new city, in a brand new town, I'm not a big sports fan, but I tell you what, I would actually start my own sports team, my own baseball, my own hockey team, basketball team. And they're eating greens, they're eating vegetables, they are exercising in state of the art facilities. I think they might give the Knicks, the Lakers, and all the rest of those teams a run for their money if
I
I would
think you
start
might
my
get some trouble creating a gay hockey team. Think of the word.
own. You just can't put the puck in the goal. God damn it. God damn it. Don't put the puck in the goal.
I had to, man. I had to. It was right there. I couldn't let it go.
But why not? Why not just say, as a transgender person, like, I don't mind them continuing this fight for equality, but what about the fight for you to respect gay owned businesses and gay teams?
Thank
We
you.
don't talk enough about how there are gay bakers who had to deal with straight customers who say, "Well, we needed a cake, but we just found out you're a gay-owned bakery." And I'm like, "Really? You didn't know? You really didn't know?
Like you couldn't tell,
Like
sweetie.
you couldn't tell? There's a giant rainbow on the storefront. You walk in and then say." Oh yeah, I need something from my husband and I. Oh, you're gay. Oh well, we don't want to, pay you for the cake that you made 2 days later after ordering it. Like this is the kind of stuff that gay business owners have to deal with when they should just say, you know what? Why don't we just have gay people buy more of our stuff and then tell their friends, shove this in your face, eat it, taste it. Doesn't it taste good? Okay, then you need to order from them too. We don't support enough of our own stuff. And when I say to you, build your own town, Clint, I mean that because I want to taste the venison that you hunt. I am
The
hungry
deer I
for
grow and kill,
venison
man.
meat. I want some venison meat, and I want you to be an exclusive contract to sell it to me because I will give you top quality greens for it.
Well, if I get one this year, I might send you some jerky.
Please do, please do.
I'll definitely be getting some hogs, though. More than likely, if I get a chance, I'm gonna be getting me a hog. Because that's normally what I do end up shooting is a big old boar. But we're gonna be doing some videos of me hunting this year, so that should be interesting. We got some videos of me going through the swamps too. They're gonna be coming up. And because unfortunately the signal is just too crappy for me to be able to do it out there in the thicket, except for one spot. But it is what it is.
What we need to do is we need to send you a Starlink. Put that on your list when you start talking to your fans, because you need to have a little portable device that you can take with you so you can stream anywhere. And
I just need a signal amplifier.
exactly. So you need a Starlink. So I'll send it to you in an email so that you know what to tell your fans about, because your fans should send that to you. So this way
Okay.
you can keep on streaming. You
Yeah,
have a
because
stronger signal where you are right now.
I've got a portable lithium battery that is solar powered that I carry around with me. It's about the size of a car battery. That a friend of mine sent to me. She's no longer a fan. I accidentally offended her from talking to my friend Nightshade. But I've got Nightshade is 16, but her parents know me and they said I could talk to her. They even sent me an email. I've got the email. I put it up on my channel and everything. And people have been accusing me of being a child molester, even though I'm her uncle. But
I'm sorry to hear that. But
oh,
you know,
I got it. I
there's
got
always
this.
there's always some drama in the world, So my dog is asking for something right here, but I want you to be able to keep engaging with your fans, keep speaking to them, make sure that
Oh,
you
I do.
have a strong internet connection.
Yeah, we're gonna work on it. We're gonna work on getting a better Starlink device or whatever it was you called it.
Mhm.
We're gonna work on getting one of them things. I'm still learning all this new technologies and everything. Cause guys, my best piece of futuristic technology is right over here. Oh, whoa! Gotta watch out for that. One of the dogs fertilized the yard, and I'm barefoot. Last thing I want is a horrid Play-Doh fun factory.
Hey, when you have
Oh,
Play-Doh, anything goes.
all right. I'll zoom in on it right quick. You see that piece of equipment right there with the red thing on top?
Mm-hmm.
That's my forge. That's the most technological thing I own next to this cell phone. It's just a metal box with two burners on top. So I hand forged that didn't forge it. I hand welded it. Now that we can get back to our little old spot. Yeah, we got a big yard here. We got like an acre. There we go.
I started looking at purchasing land, and I saw that you can get an acre, half acre for like less than 1,000. And
Mhm.
it's all
It
in
has to be uncleared land usually.
it's all in what you do with it. I mean, you could use that for one person, you could use that for 100 people, you could use that for 10 people. It's what you use it for.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm starting to really consider it. If I put it out there, it is until the end of the month, so that's like 14 days. In 14 days, if I get even one or two other people, I'm going to try and build this city. If I can't get a single person to either sign my petitions or to try and really do some brainstorming of how to build this city outside of what's been going on here, then I'm just gonna have to make this a Canadian podcast. I'd rather not, because it just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. And you have America right here. I am in America. I'm an American citizen. I have rights here, but my rights are being infringed upon. So yeah, I have to do what's best. So I'm putting it out there to you. I'm putting it out there to your fans and all the people who love you as well. see if this is something viable, because it takes one person to just reach out and say, "Will you be my neighbor?" to start something like this off. And this is a
Pull,
win-win proposition for everyone. If you're
pull
a
us, Mr.
business owner,
Roger.
it's good for you. If you're a lazy son of a bitch, guess
It's
what?
good for you.
It's good for you. If you want to stay at home and play video games, but then maybe go and feed some chickens for 10 minutes, guess what? I'm cool with that.
I got you. I just got called Gandalf.
I will take that as a compliment. Ian McKellen
Dude.
is sexy as fuck. So that person is calling you beautiful. Clint, you got compliments. See, I know you have fans.
Oh yeah. But I have been told a lot that I look like a D&D character, especially when I wear my tunics and my swords and stuff. But that's just me, man. I enjoy that look, you know, the Viking look and the Viking way of dressing. It's very comfortable. And not so many mosquitoes. That's the one problem with living this close to any kind of creeks, lakes, rivers, or swamps.
Now you say that, but I mean, if I'm your neighbor, I can actually. There's some technological things that I can do to just create a field without citronella candles to just repel mosquitoes from your entire area. I'm gonna send you some links because they're
Okay.
like really cheap. You put it on your Amazon wish list. You let your fans help you out. So I'm gonna send you a list of things that I think that you need. Okay, I'm gonna
Okay,
start
brother. Thank you.
being a good veteran and helping you out.
Thank you, man. You know, I'm gonna see if I can get everybody I can to go sign your petitions and everything. You know, I just got to copy your screen name.
Thank you, and I'm
And
gonna retroactively, put a link to your channel in the description. So I did
thank
this
you.
like spare the moment. Who knows? It's the miracle of
Oh,
the
it's all
internet. You
good,
were
man.
available, so
You
I'll make
caught me
sure
at
to
just the right
send you
time,
the
brother. I
right.
was literally laying my head down for a nap. But yeah, you caught me at just the right time. So it gave me a little bit of energy too. So that's always good because I always love talking to great friends, you know, especially
Aw.
face to face. Stuff like this is a way more personal to me than talking over a phone or via email. You know, I'd rather talk face to face with a good friend, you know, and that always makes me feel a lot better and always gives me a little bit of energy. You know, I'm kind of grounding myself because as you can see, I'm barefoot in the dirt.
You are living the true American dream. I mean, right now, yeah, the world is a crazy place, but you have a little spot of it for now where, things aren't affecting you. Now, I'm looking ahead to the future of this nation, and we are having economic downturns, we're having depression, unemployment, and the rise of drug abuse in this nation is staggering.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
time to tell veterans, to tell first responders, tell all of our heroes, do you want to follow this path because this path leads to destruction? Or do you want to follow an alternate path where you can redeem yourself in your own eyes and be your own person and take charge of your life by, yes, no longer being a slave to bills for things that shouldn't ever be a burden to you. You should never have to say, eggs are too expensive, so I cut them out my diet. Eggs are
Yeah.
$12, so you know what? I'll give up the delicious flavor of eggs. When you mentioned that to me, and you were just like, it's so expensive, the eggs. I'm like, well, how expensive is it to own a chicken?
Exactly. You know, I found some chicks for sale recently for 50 cents a piece, but my dad said I can't put a coop out here.
Is a zoning thing? Or he doesn't like
No. We don't have zoning laws out here. It's just my dad don't want to smell them.
it? Oh.
And he don't want the rooster going cock-a-doodle-doo in the morning because he'll go any shell will do and he'll shoot that son of a bitch. And trust me, we got enough guns here to do it with. Because we got all my dad's guns, plus my guns, plus my grandpa's guns. So, yeah, he'd shoot my rooster.
But you want that. You see, this is the reason why I'm having this conversation with you. You know, you moved to this area, you know, in order to maybe help your father, or I don't know why exactly you moved there, but you
I
did
had
that
to.
out of your heart.
I lost the place I was staying at. Well, I lost the land I was staying on. I still have my RV, but the people I was staying with, the paralyzed gentleman I was helping out, his wife got hit with child support, and they only make together $1,300 a month. They're hitting her with $800 a month in child support. So they're taking more than half of her check for child support. And she's got a disabled husband to take care of who's got sepsis. Yes, he's got sepsis in his bloodstream, guys. And he's dying. She's trying to take the best care of him she can. You know, but here these people are trying to make it harder. You know, and I understand child support. I get that. I pay child support. You know, in fact, I got a picture of my sons. But you know, guys, it's just it shouldn't be like you said with the veterans, it should be higher. With child support, it should really go based on how much you make, and it shouldn't be a percentage of how much you make. It should literally be based on how much you make at the current time. You know, and like let's say if you're working minimum wage, $200 a month would be okay. You know, instead they're going to charge you $475 a month, and you might only make $1,000 a month. Now you got to learn how to live off of 600. You know,
Live off of 600. I am. What does that mean? Because you're describing the situation where a person has to give up a portion of their paycheck, a portion of their
mm-hmm.
cash, but that has no bearing on how much their rent is, how much their food is. Because if I go this path of forming a city, I would see a situation like your friend has and say, you know what, pay the full amount that they owe you so that you don't have any trouble with them. But guess what? I'll send you some food. Or
There you go.
or you know,
There.
you have a place to stay in, I don't know, Gatorville, the name of your town. You have a place to stay there and you don't pay rent. And then you don't pay for food, you don't pay for electricity, you don't pay for internet. So what do you pay for? You don't pay for anything except for the things that you need to pay for. And that's how
I
America should
got that.
operate. Because if you're saying you should lower child support payments, I don't agree. I don't agree
Well,
because I want them to have the ability to just say the money doesn't matter. If you have a paycheck and you've worked hard for that, let the money go to where it needs to go to, but allow your children to have what they need, but you will always have food, you will always have water, and guaranteed fresh food, guaranteed fresh water, unlike places like Amazon, which have to say, you know what, the food you just ordered and you just spent all your paycheck on, well, you know what, that's contaminated. But we're going to sell it to you anyway. That kind of stuff
yeah,
doesn't fly for me. And it doesn't fly for my veterans who are going to live in my city. And for your friend, like I said, you know, I know you want to be supportive. I want to be supportive too. But the path is not to shirk the responsibility and say, you know, we're going to lower the child support payments. It should be, as an American citizen, as a friend to this person without even knowing them, what do you need? Do you need a new refrigerator? Let me send you a new refrigerator. Do you
you
need
see, that's what I do.
electricity? Let me give you electricity. Let me give you a place to live in. Let me reduce your operating costs for your life so that you can save your money and do with it as you see fit. Get
And
more
pay
out of your
for
money.
your kids. And pay
That is
for
the
your kids.
real goal of these kind of conversations, because I'm hearing your story and I feel for this person, but the government doesn't feel for them at all. The government
No,
just says, here is the amount. pay it or else. I'm saying pay the amount, but look at all the rest of it. Look at all the rest of it that you can get, because I will reduce all your costs to zero.
And you see, that's fine. You solve the problem that they're going through right
Mm,
there.
yes.
You know, okay, you're paying this much in child support to take care of a kid, and you only make this much. So we're going to cover what you can. You know, that solves the problem. But when you've got a system that we have like we got right now, where I'm supposed to be getting $800 a month in paycheck for my disability, but I only get 374 because of my child support. I do not mind paying the child support,
Good for you.
but I cannot live on my own. I cannot afford any rent here in Texas and still be able to buy food, you know. And with $155 and or $133 in food stamps, you know, you're not going to get much. You know, you're not going to get a month's worth, you know. So most places around here are a $300 a month job or $300 a month rent for the cheap stuff that's falling apart. And that's why I live with my dad now. So I can live rent free, save my money, and I can do something with my life. I can remodel my RV. I can repair it to where it can drive, and I can get out of my dad's and be independent. That's my main goal, is to get out of my father's house and be independent. I might be disabled. I might be a schizophrenic epileptic, but that doesn't mean that I want to live with a family member the rest of my life. You know, I want to be able to take care of myself. You know, and it's
I
because
want
I
you to
was
be able to take care of yourself as well, but there's no shame in saying to a fellow veteran, a fellow American, what is the bare minimum that I can do as an individual to help you to meet that goal. If that goal is, you know what, you get some food from my pantry, I'm more than willing to share food. I'm more than willing to send you finished cooked meals. I'm more than willing to share that. I'm more than willing to build a solar array, send you solar batteries, so you don't pay extra for electricity. You don't get on that grid system which robs you.
oh
Or
yeah.
you need land so that you can, heaven forbid, buy a chicken to cockle doodle doo all the live long day. Guess what? I want your eggs. I just before I want your venison, but now I want your eggs too.
I do raise some pretty good looking chickens. You know, I raised them whenever I was in school for FFA along with goats and hogs. So I do make some pretty good looking chickens. But
I had a feeling you had some previous experience, and that's value. That is an American skill that I want to see you utilizing. I would rather see you do that than be in a situation where you say, "Oh well, I couldn't afford eggs. Eggs are $18 for a baker's dozen. $18 for a baker's dozen. Or $20 for egg whites. Whatever it costs. I want you to just have food. You're a veteran, just
no,
like I want you to have food. You never should have to question in America as a veteran, where is my meal coming from? Veterans deserve this. They deserve this change. So we need to start speaking it to every single person that we speak to, and just keep speaking and speaking and speaking, because there has to be enough of us to be friends and say, you know what, you live in this area, you live in this area, we have this land right here, and we operate it as we see fit.
yeah. And you
Because
see that
you should have
that's why
chicken.
I'm glad I live with that's why I'm glad I live with my dad now. Granted, yeah, I can't get chickens, but he can afford eggs. So he told me don't worry about paying for anything right now. Just deal with fixing up my RV and saving up some money. Um, and of course, I'm going to buy a few things for the show. You know, they have, with me calling myself the leader of the Silver Knights, you know, I might want to actually look the part. So I found myself a suit of armor that looks really cool for $600. But I'm going to try to get that. or at least just the chest piece. That would look cool as a shirt by itself.
I think that if that's something that you want as a luxury item for yourself, you're a veteran just like me. I want you to be able to say, I spent my money on that. From or where the parts for my RV are coming from.
See, that's why I brought it up, because I knew that's what you were gonna say, brother. That's why, that way your viewers could hear it, and guys, that's what we both are sitting here talking about.
Hmm.
There's no reason why you should have to buy food. There's no reason why you should have to buy electricity. There's no reason why you should have to buy water. There's no reason why you should go without a home. You know, these are all things, excuse me, right now, allergies. Oh man. But these are all things that the average everyday American, the average everyday human being of the planet Earth needs, not wants, not covets, needs. Everybody needs a roof. Everybody needs food. Everybody needs water. Everybody needs medicine. So I completely agree with him. Everything should be provided in a world where we are filled with resources and fighting for them, even though we keep saying there's shortages, but there's so many. When they said there was an aluminum shortage here in America, I died laughing. I was like, have you been to a landfill yet? Go dig through that sucker and filter out some aluminum. You're going to find some. You're going to find a lot. Go to a junkyard. You're going to find aluminum everywhere. There ain't no aluminum shortage. You know, we have so many resources now above that have already been refined, that haven't been mined or harvested yet, that we could just continue to recycle for years and still wouldn't run out of products. Especially that giant island of plastic in the Atlantic Ocean. That sucker's got to go. You know, that's killing all kinds of animals. And
Do
we
we
could
want to be
recycle all that.
do we want to be part of that problem, or do we want to be part of the solution? Because the solution has always been switch to paper and biodegradable products. I'm trying to build this city, and I'm not trying to divorce the American capitalist out of it. I am saying that in my city, in my town as mayor of Gayville, I'm going to say to companies like Coca Cola, I want your product. Your product is welcome here. But guess what? When you sell to my citizens, you're going to put it in a nice paper carton, like a little milk carton, but it's going to have Coca Cola on it. It's going to be paper, biodegradable. So if any of my neighbors, oh, by the way, the littering fines would be astronomical.
Yeah.
But if they did litter, it wouldn't even matter.
I would be a little bit more of a jerk with it.
Oh,
I'd want clay ceramics.
really?
Yes. Why? Because I can bust it up and make it into a new ceramic pot if I needed to, or break it down, use it for fertile soil, break it down, use it for blacksmithing, use it, period. You could boil in it, you could cook in it. There's all kinds of stuff you could do with clay ceramics. So yeah, I would demand clay ceramic.
I think I follow with what you're saying here. Would you also agree that you should just have a central tank and then people just pay to refill the mug and
Yeah.
they could just go up to it at any time of the day, any time of the night, bring their mug, as
What do you
personalized
think they
mug?
used to do in Viking colonies, man?
I think
They had
so.
an
Yeah,
ale house.
have a giant barrel full of grog or beer or something like that.
Of
And
mead.
mead and just dip the horn in, and then they take the sip and they go off.
Yeah, they had the ale house or the mead house, and you would go in there, and the entire all of both sides was lined with giant barrels of mead, and you just walk up to a barrel and glub 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 glub, and then get your drink. So yeah, I agree with that.
I
You
think
know,
that's an even smarter idea than what I was going to do of wasting. time with a biodegradable carton, I'll just say, hook up your tanker, fill this, little container of it, and then just have the people bring their reusable mugs. I
Yeah, just fill up
think
this
my
giant.
people could be that enlightened.
Yeah, just fill up this giant tank over here that's
Mm,
refrigerated and keeps it carbonated, and fill up our nitrogen tank, because you always got to have nitrogen whenever you're doing the fountain drinks,
mhm.
and just have a big giant public fountain. Water back, soda around the front, tea on the sides, you know,
I like
coffee on the other side.
I like talking to you, Clint, because you think so fast, and you're more intelligent than me, because I would have eventually gotten to that point, but you got to it within seconds. This is why I value you. This is why I value
Thank
you.
you. I just, it's part of having a schizophrenic mind, man. It works 1,000 miles an hour. And with me being a writer, especially a science fiction writer, science fiction eventually becomes science fact. And I have created in my little world of X tier continual fountains for certain villages and everything like that that can afford to have them built. And what they would do is you just walk up to it and you hold your own mug up underneath it. If you ain't got a mug, you don't get a drink, you know? And you'd have ale all the way around till you got to wine. So, it was literally, you might have one little kid sitting there going, penance, and get like a copper piece, which is basically like a regular penny for us.
Mm.
Pay a penny and fill up your mug and walk away. I've done a lot of work on trying to create a utopian civilization with inside of my book of X tier. It's been rather difficult, but I've came up with ideas such as, instead of, in my world, the emperor of X tier, he doesn't uh he doesn't rule the people. He protects them. That's his job, to keep them safe from the evildoers of all kinds. That's what the legionnaires are there for. That's his army. They're not there to conquer anyone. They're not there to control anybody. Everybody has their own kingdom. They're there to keep you safe, and that's it. And in this world, they've established ways to where, and granted, yeah, this is all fantasy, but I mean, this is stuff that can translate into reality very easily. Because, like, here's a prime example: vampires in my story. There is a brothel in my main city of New Safe Haven, where you can go. These vampires will feed off of you and give you your whoopee, and you could go on about your day. But these vampires get fed and don't have to hurt anybody. It's called the Black Veil Brothel, which is going to actually be a book all unto itself.
Preaching to the choir here. I woke up today and I just had a serious self reflection on American happiness, and how we talk about how technology, bridges so many gaps, but it's also created such a divide. It's created so much depression, because it's very, very hard to relate to people on a one on one basis. Because the kind of connection that you really need in your life can only really be built when you see the same person every day, when you see the same person throughout the day, when you share things with them, share experiences with them, and that you get to know them over time. We don't have
Yeah.
that opportunity in America anymore, because no one works the same job, no one lives really in the same city, no one really
Battery's dying. I
lives
got to run
together.
inside. Keep going, man.
So because of that, I said I have to summarize what I'm going to do to build this city because gay depression is a huge thing. Because when you are the LGBTQIA, you don't often have opportunities to work on social skills and learn how to talk to other people because you spend most of your time avoiding being viciously assaulted.
Yeah. And you see, when you're mentally handicapped, you're schizophrenic or you're cerebral palsy or you're autistic, whatever, you get just as many attacks. And that's sad because we can't control our problems.
Mm-mm.
When we have our issues, it takes a serious amount of willpower just to be able to say, don't do that. That's why I wear a Green Lantern ring. Always to remind me that my willpower is stronger than my fear. But, you know, dang it, I done lost my train of thought. I was telling us about being mentally handicapped. But, I'm pretty sure it's the same for veterans when they're handicapped. They can't help themselves when they have their PTSD. They can't help themselves when they have their issues. They need a safe place, you know. And I think you're the person to provide it. I really do. That's why I support you so much, brother. I really do believe
I
in you, and I
appreciate that
really do think
support,
you
Clint.
got what.
I know that you have your struggles, and like I said, I'm going to be sending you a huge email list of all the things that I think could probably help you out. But I want you to know that you can always count on me. If it's a credible thing that I can help with, I'm going to help in any way. You need someone to help, run your veteran division. I care about veterans, and I called you on the email and I said I want to start Operation Rescue because how many veterans have been waiting on VA to help them, and no one has sent them anything.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull something out for you real quick, man.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, all my shit in the way. Oh look, there's my drinking one. Oh, crap. It's really packed up in there. Never mind. Um, well, I was gonna pull out this spiral that I've been writing in and show you what I've got written down for the Knights of the Holy Rose Sanctum so far, but it's overly packed in there. Like, holy crap. I did a good job. But I can't get it all the way out of my chest without digging for
I
like
would
a
want
minute.
you to tax yourself with that, but could you tell me what would you are looking for in someone to run your veteran division of your.
First off, I'm looking for somebody who's going to be serious about it.
Mhm,
Somebody who's no nonsense and is
mhm,
going to actually want to stay in contact. You
mhm,
know, I also am looking for somebody who can get the job done. You know what I mean? Or at
mhm.
least knows somebody who can. Somebody with contacts, somebody who can get people behind him, and can basically raise an army to help the army, you know? That's what the Salvation Army was supposed to be for. That's what the Red Cross was supposed to be for, and they have failed in that mission. And the Knights of the Holy Rose Sanctum Pale Rose chapter will not. And that is mainly I want somebody as determined to help these people as I am. Somebody who looks at these people as pure family, no matter what their beliefs are, no matter who they are, because they're your brothers in arms, they're your sisters in arms. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who's a leader,
I am
somebody who will raise up
definitely
others.
a leader, and I care deeply about veterans. Even though I have PTSD from military sexual trauma, I gave you that link, change.org/save American veterans, and I put a female servicewoman as the face of it because I understand that even though I struggle as a individual, I'm still a man biologically. So I've always had that opportunity that no matter how difficult things are, I could walk away. I can't imagine how difficult it is to have the handicap that female veterans exit the military with, and then to be a mother, to be, a provider, and to say, well, no, I can't walk away from that. I have others who need me. I have others who depend on me to be mentally clear and to pay all the bills and everything. So when I had the choice of choosing graphics for that petition, I had the choice of having an elderly man as the face of the excise bill to get 1% to pay the veterans what they are owed. And I said, no, I'm going to place a female as the cover of it because I understand how difficult it is for them and how much
Yeah.
they need assistance and they need understanding. I will never forgive Master Sergeant Miranda for sexually abusing me in the United States Air Force, but I understand that in order for her to do that, someone had to have abused her.
Yeah.
She was only repeating what she had been taught by the United States military.
And
And
you
that
see,
saddens me. It sickens me because I say that was a human being that was manipulated into hurting another American citizen. So if I have a chance to look past my PTSD for a second and say, I don't need to know you, but I care about you. I don't know your story, but I just want to help you. What can I get done for you? That's the kind of person I am.
yeah. And you see, I'm just the kind of guy that if I look at somebody that needs help, I'm gonna help them. Period. I don't care what your situation is. As long as I can give a hand, I'm gonna lend a hand. And that's because I've been my entire life with no help and been severely needing it. She's so pretty.
You can tell that as I'm saying that, I'm still shaking with anxiety and depression from even thinking for a second about my own military sexual trauma. And she's going wild to alert me to the fact that I'm going through PTSD right now while I'm trying to have this conversation with you. And that kind of empathy and everything is the reason why I have change.org slash a man's best friend is a dog, because I wanted my VA benefits so I could run my own kennel to give every single American veteran a dog like this, a caring dog that can do tasks in order to help that veteran.
That's my old Chuck.
That is a beautiful dog. That is an ink spot. I love it.
That is my old black Chuck. He's about 10 years old. So he's hitting that I'm gonna be lazy stage, but he's sick right now. I've been having to try to get him taken care of. And there's your big fluffy. I love doggies.
She is the best girl ever. I love her. I love her so much. And I want other veterans to have that option of having a service animal, because humans can look at you and say, we understand what you're going through, but we're not going to be there for you. But a dog will just be there. If you teach a dog what it needs to take care of a veteran, that veteran is taken care of forever.
For good.
Their watch
Yeah.
never ends.
That
24
man will be
7, this
taken
dog is
better
up,
care of.
looking out for me.
That man will be taken better care of by that dog than it would any person in this world.
Hmm.
And I believe that because my Shuck has taken great care of me and I've taken great care of him. And that's why now that he's sick, I'm kind of heartbroken. I got to get him taken care of quick before he gets worse. But I gotta wait on my damn check.
No, no, you don't. No, you don't. I'm gonna do what I can. You're a fellow veteran like myself. You give me a goal, and I will try and meet it. Tell me what you
Uh,
need, because I want.
I think it's going to cost about $500, bro.
Okay,
Is how much it
so
is.
we need to raise $500 for your dog.
Yeah, for my shuck.
Yeah, that's fine.
And if anybody needs to know, my Cash App is Night Sanctum. It's all one word, all lowercase. You know,
You're gonna
but
you're gonna give me an email, and I'm gonna put it into the description for this podcast.
all right, thank you, man. I'll shoot you the email. I hate asking, I do, but I'm so worried about my shuck. You know, he's my baby boy. He's all I got. I got him and I got my Jin Jin. But Jin Jin's not here to hold me when he dies. You know, so it's just like the the other day I had some serious troll problems with some people coming in to pretend to be my kids. And it was always a different site, and you could tell it was the same guy because it was always a picture of the same dude, you know, who didn't look anything like me. But this is my kids. That's my baby boys. That's the last time I really got to see them. It was the last time I got to hold them. And Shuck kind of fills that hole, So I understand what you mean about man's best friend is a dog. Because without Shuck, I wouldn't feel like a dad anymore. I'd just be a hollow shell. So I needed him there to feel like him was still a father. And animals help out so much if you let them. And it's not just dogs, cats, possums, rats,
Reptiles.
reptiles. Yes, even reptiles. I've had a snake that I called Lulu that loved me to death. If it wouldn't have been for a cold snap and the power going out while I was asleep, she would have survived.
Mm-hmm.
But power went out. And she was in a back room. And she froze to death. But that snake used to be so sweet. It would curl up on the cat and go to sleep. Yeah. She didn't bite anything. She didn't even like biting her food. I had to kill her food for her. She tried to make friends with it. But, you know, all animals are an amazing thing. You got to learn how to look at the creator's creations, his children, and really learn. You can learn from them. You just watch them because they're always watching you. And when you're having a support animal, like my Shuck, or like your dog, or like my stepmom's dog, they latch on you like they were a child, and they never let go, and they will stay by your side forever. Shuck was in here whining because I was out there talking to you. I could hear him. Oh, I'm like, I'm coming, baby. But you know, it's just staggering how we're reduced back down as men. I know you're trans. I'm straight though. I'm reduced down to a number. I'm reduced down to how much do I make. And that's why I'm glad I have my Jin Jin. She doesn't care about that. But it's very hard, even on a mentally challenged man, someone with actual physical problems, to get anywhere in life, and when you include veteran PTSD, mental trauma or disability, or even physical disability, then you run into a wall. And that wall is long and tall and slick. It is hard to climb. And guys, I'm only halfway up it, and I'm a homeowner. Well, RV owner, but it's a home to me.
It's more than what I have, so I will give you a round of applause and tell you that you are a winner, because you are a winner. And I don't want you to ever put yourself down for owning an RV when I am jealous, absolutely jealous of your freedom. You have freedom.
Yeah.
Me, currently, because I don't have my disability benefits, I am trapped in an apartment building where women try to break into my apartment, and that triggers my PTSD. It's not just I'm a veteran with flashbacks. The flashbacks are bad enough. I have real women trying to break into my apartment, and I have to deal with that every single day without any benefits or without anything. But the strength of character that I have inside says, I don't care too much about my problems when I know that I'm not the only one who has problems. You have a problem right now, and I am here to help you. So we need to raise, you quoted $500, I'm going to say $1,000. We need to get you $1,000 to get your dog the help that it needs.
Thank you, brother. I mean, seriously, like you kind of just made me speechless, and that's hard. You know, that's my little buddy. You know, that's my baby boy. He's been with me for 10 years. You know, even when his mom left me. Oh, even I didn't for my mom. I'm sorry, but I'll see you next time, brother.
Always in my thoughts. A wonderful Clint Gage here. I'm so glad that he was part of the channel for today. DG, so my family and cousins can collect money. Since my dad, Uncle Carl, Uncle Ernest, Uncle Richard all served in WW2, World War II, for everyone who needs to know. Hell yeah. DG, thank you so much. And yeah, um, I'm a veteran. I have huge problems, and I'm a mess emotionally, 100% mess. And the VA doesn't want to help me, but I want to help other people. So we're gonna get Clint the money he needs. He said 500. I say 1,000. So I'm bringing back log jams to help my friend. I'm bringing back live jams. I'm gonna continue making music, and I'm gonna start spinning on here because if I need to throw a telephone to help my friend, then so be it. So I'm going to collaborate with him, get his cash up because that's his money. All the money should be going to him. So for the next few podcasts, I'm going to take my information off, and it's just going to be for Clint Gage and his medical relief fund for his animal. Thank you everyone for coming by. I appreciate everyone. I hope you found this conversation enlightening, because this is your country too. I know that we have politicians who say that they're running the country. No, you always have a voice here. Never forget that. My name is XIlyana. My guest was Clint Gage. Please follow his channel. I'm going to put it in the description, his direct link to his channel. And like I said, we help people. That's who we are.